Welcome back. This is episode number 369 of the Healthy Diabetic Podcast. I'm your host, or I could say co-host, Ken Canis. Joining me as always is my good friend and diabetes partner, Graham Hubbard. If you don't know much about our story, we are two type 1s with over 50 years of lived diabetes experience. And we hope to inspire you to think differently about how you are managing your condition or diabetes. Before we get started, please remember that nothing that you hear in this podcast should be considered medical advice or otherwise. Please always consult your medical team before making any changes to your diabetes management. Graham and I got a good episode for you as always. Graham, what's up, man? How you doing?
We're good. It just hit me at that last second. The last time we talked, it was an hour and a half too. You remember that?
Yeah, it was. That episode just dropped. What's today? Wednesday? Yesterday. It's getting some good attention so far.
But since then, you went to diabetes camp, huh?
Yeah.
Have you recorded anything about it yet?
Not yet. I knew we were going to talk about it. We were going to talk about it Monday, but we didn't get a chance to connect and get on and record on Monday. But no, I haven't recorded or done anything with it. I feel like I'm so bad at this, man. I'm so bad at sharing. Like you've said this to me before, right? I'm so bad at sharing my day to day, what I've got going on in behind the scenes, what I'm doing in my personal life with diabetes, how I'm just so bad at it. I'm so bad at sharing that stuff when it's so easy just to pull up my phone and say, "Hey, this is what I got going on today."
Well, it's easy. Let's do let me interview. Let me ask you some things. When do you arrive for diabetes camp? Like in the beginning of it all, what day do you pull in, and when do when the clients get there?
Right. So with this camp, because we do a staff training starts on Friday. So you got staff training on Friday and Saturday, and the kids get their Sunday. So we got staff training Friday and Saturday, and then the kids get their Sunday. The crappy thing is they've always done 4 weeks of camp. Always. They've done a week-long day camp where the kids don't stay overnight, and then they've done 3 weeks of overnight camp. This year, they only did 3 weeks. They did 1 week of day camp. I think it was in May. And then we did 2 weeks of overnight camp. And every year I go, I'm astounded at the different types of individuals that are out there, different types of kids, different types of individuals with all kinds of different challenges, with all kinds of different types of things going on in their life. It's so interesting to me doing, like, kind of thinking and really doing what I do. It's so interesting to see all these different dynamics of what these kids have going on. So yeah, the kids get their Sunday. We've got like an opening ceremony, which is really cool. All of the counselors, which I wasn't a counselor this year, all the counselors meet their kids that are going to be in their
You mean a cabin counselor?
Yeah, the counselors, the cabin counselors. All the kids meet their counselors, get set up in their cabins, and then we have open ceremonies, and then we start camping, we start having fun and playing games. So from Sunday to Saturday, basically, because the kids, I think, leave at I think pickup starts at 10:30 on Saturday morning. It's go, 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 go. It's fun. It's you're just going.
Mm-hmm.
And the really other interesting thing is every single year I've had to make different adjustments to my ratios and my blood sugars, because life is different.
Yeah.
When you're a counselor, life is different when you're on staff. Life is different, even being a kid, being there, because you're doing different things than you normally do. Right. So typically I'm decreasing my basal by almost 10 to 15%. Right. So I think the first 2 days, I don't even know if I took any basal, because I was just constantly down, not low, but I was constantly just like down, like my blood sugar
from being so active,
just being so active and like readjusting to the different types of food, because the food is completely different than what I eat regularly. So I don't even think I actually took basal until Tuesday. Right. So I took some basal on Friday, didn't take any I'm sorry. I took basal on Saturday. I didn't take any on Sunday. I didn't take any on Monday. I finally took some on Tuesday. So that was an interesting
Were
adjustment.
you going off of provided medication or were you using your own?
I was just using my own.
Yeah.
And typically I'm using my own anyway, but we keep it like if you're in a cabin, regardless if you're a counselor or if you're a camper, you leave all of your insulin in the medical building, right? So your all of your insulin for your basal insulin if you're on MDI, your fast acting insulin if you're on an insulin pump, all of your insulin is in the medical tent, and
They wait,
they bring that stuff to you every time we eat a snack
really?
or yeah, anytime
So
we eat a snack or
they're
what?
bringing their own insulin. Kids are
They're
bringing their own
bringing their
insulin
own
now?
insulin.
Wow.
They're
Wow. I'll
bringing
have a
their
funny
own
story for
insulin.
you later then. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're bringing their own insulin, but doesn't mean they're actually using that insulin, right? They're just
Okay.
kind of a backup because we do
Got it.
provide insulin for the kids. And because we have such so much insulin, the kids get to take home some as well.
Yeah. Cool.
So, yeah. Yeah, go ahead. You were gonna say something.
Uh, quickly fill me in. So you weren't working as a camp counselor, then what was your function there? And
I was helping Tom. I was part of the media team. So he
okay,
was doing pictures, I was doing videos. It was a stressful
cool.
week. It was a stressful week. It was a really stressful week because I had this specific idea in my head of what I wanted to do and what I wanted to introduce because they don't do video during camp.
Uh-huh.
Tom does all the pictures and they do a slideshow and that's it. And I wanted to do something different. And the thing that I wanted to do, which I still have to work on maybe, or yes, I still have to work on it. The thing I wanted to do was do this big long slideshow of videos with music and like different transitions and make it super cool because Tom's thing is amazing, but some of the kids also say that sometimes it's repetitive because it is a little bit like it's just a bunch of pictures and it's super awesome. Like he does a freaking fantastic job with that thing.
Is this something
But
you will be
we
displaying the
wanted to
same this is something you'll be
no
displaying the same week? Oh, okay,
no
okay. Got it.
So we wanted to bring video to we wanted to create videos, right? Mostly for social media. So I'm sitting there Sunday night after taking videos and pictures all day Sunday. I'm sitting there Monday night after taking videos and pictures all day. I'm sitting there Tuesday after taking videos and pictures. I've got all this content and I'm
Mhm.
trying to put it in a timeline on Final Cut Pro, which is the Apple version of Adobe or whatever. And just it's not coming together the way I wanted to come together. And also, Tom and I talked about getting Anthony, which is the camp director, like small clips, like 15, 30 seconds, no more than 45-second clips of just video of things that are going on and making it pop and look super cool. So it's like, okay, so I'm trying to make this long slideshow out of video, but then I'm also trying to make these small little clips. How am I supposed to do this? How do because I've never done it before. So like Monday and Tuesday, I'm like having a panic attack, an anxiety attack because I'm like, I haven't given them anything yet. It's almost Wednesday. Oh my gosh, Tom has given Anthony so many like pictures. Anthony's posting all these pictures about what's going on. I haven't given any videos. So I was like, man, this is going to take too long. This is going to take too longer than I thought it was actually going to take. So I started asking Claude about using AI for this. And then one of the counselors who did some video last year in junior week, which is the week I wasn't there last year, used CapCut. CapCut. It's an AI program that you can just drop videos and drop things and you know, build social media content in. He used CapCut and I've used CapCut before, but you have to pay for it. So I was like, man, I won't do that. So I signed up for it, but I got the free version, and the free version actually allows you to use like templates that are preloaded. So
Mhm.
I started using these templates and putting all these pictures and stuff in these templates that already had music, and they came out freaking fantastic. So I made 10 of them for the week. So there's 10 videos. One is already posted that I created that just like super cool popping like
Yeah. Yeah.
videos, pictures of stuff that happened throughout the week. So by Wednesday, I was like starting to figure it out and I was like, okay, this is cool.
I've been up I've been somewhere for many, several hours where a photographer was taking essentially thousands of pictures, and that
Yeah.
in my head overwhelms me. Like I could never in a million years do
dude.
that job, but you just hit the nail on the head. Like, I know because I have heard of this exactly. There are functions of AI that would help you pull out the best photo or things like that. But
Well,
no, I
it wasn't
completely
pulling out anything. It was like
no,
I
no, no,
had to
no, no.
figure
I'm
out
saying,
which ones I want to do.
just in my
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
example of
yeah.
what
Yeah,
where
yeah, yeah.
that would maybe help it, but I am not that type of person, so I totally sympathize with you. I also see how different of an experience than you are having at camp, than I used to. I've told you this story, I was at camp before during my honeymoon, I was 8, 9 years old when I was first there up until the point that I could be a counselor and I was a lifeguard. So I worked there as a lifeguard and a
Oh
counselor
wow.
for many years. That was the best part where you just said is that at the very end of all of camp, there's a literal fridge in the medical tent that's just filled with insulin, vials of insulin that have been used, but they can't do anything with them. So I'd go home with a rack, like a literal rack
Yeah,
of insulin, man,
yeah,
which was just which was so amazing. And it's pretty cool to hear that kids get to go home with some insulin too, because
yeah.
just going home with an extra one goes a long way. What about the other counselors? Is everybody diabetic? And how are people finding out about camp itself these days?
Uh, yeah, I would say probably 95%, probably 95%, 90 to 95% of the counselors are diabetic. Pretty much I mean, a lot of the medical staff is even diabetic.
Yeah.
There was, one of the dietitian staff, the kitchen staff, they get these graduate students or these undergrad and graduate students in dietetics to come and work kitchen throughout the weeks, and one of the
Yeah.
dietitian staff,
Yeah.
was diabetic, so that was kinda cool, and then,
Yeah.
we've got 4 or 5 of the medical people are diabetics, and it's such a cool it's just such a cool environment, man. It's such a cool environment to be in that environment with, like, you're not trying to hide diabetes, not that we
Yeah.
should, but you don't have to explain diabetes to anybody. You don't like, everybody has diabetes, everyone's showing off, showing all of their devices proudly, like, everyone's talking about it, everyone's helping each other out if they're low, like, it's a super, super cool environment.
It completely normalizes diabetes.
Yeah,
It
100%.
completely yeah, it removes any questions you have, even if am I doing this right or wrong? It makes you realize there really is not a right or wrong. Because if I'm doing it, I'm like we always say this. If you're doing it and making the effort, that's the most important thing, right? You're out, you are trying,
Yeah.
even if you're bullshitting yourself, you're trying type of thing. So that's awesome, man. That's really funny that you've gotten into it the way you've gotten into it and have enjoyed
Yeah.
the experience and have made
Yeah.
you've been able to make the time for it too. Was the weather nice or anything like that? And
It was kinda cloudy throughout the week, but it was still really nice. We've
yeah,
had we had some good sunny days. We had one night that it rained pretty bad, or not pretty bad, but just it rained pretty
there's good.
hard one night.
It's kind of in the middle of the nowhere, so there's good stars out there too.
Oh,
Did you
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it's one of those places if you go without flashlights and you get the night vision that you see stars and shoot like forever.
Well, yeah, because it's funny because we have a group of counselors or a group of people that come now. They're part of another camp
Mhm.
in Vegas. I believe it's Vegas,
Oh wow.
and, they're really good friends with Anthony, with the director of the camp. But, yeah, he one of them was talking about how, like, in Vegas, like, because of all the lights, you can't see the stars. So he, you know, one night that he had off, he wanted to go out and just walk around the camp or whatever and just look at the stars and just, like, I just thought that was cool because I wouldn't have thought of that. Because I do get to see the stars sometimes here, and even when I where I live, so
Uh, do you know how, Anthony, who I really don't know. Do you know how I do know Anthony though? He remembers me because I'm pretty sure he heard the Nightwolf story. We used to, when we were campers, we would get like butt naked and we would just try to run as fast as we could through like a setting of people where they're just like what the hell was that? And we just called it, yeah, we would call it Night Wolf. And me and like another kid were famous for that. And he's like, I'm pretty sure that's where I heard, like he heard about me. That's how he knows about me. You know,
That's so funny, dude.
he had heard about me.
Well,
Two
it's
things.
yeah.
My first girlfriend, the first person I was like in love with, I actually followed her to where I went to Ohio University because she was there. Was actually a girl that I met at diabetes camp. She studied dietetics. She was a dietitian and in college. That's what she studied. So, and then another one of my best friends at college was somebody I met at diabetes camp at 8 years old. And, you know, like 20 years later, we never got to go to school together, but we're at college together. So
Mhm.
it is that type of relationship and that type of people. But, you know, the second thing I was going to tell you, you know, where you were was where I got my raccoon story in the Mohican. You were like, you're 10 miles from where my incident was. So you guys, the raccoons aren't bad out there. That's
Never
crazy. Is that
seen
so
one in
fun?
my life.
Huh?
Never seen one in 5 years.
Man. Cause your camp does canoe rides and that goes on the Mohican River, right?
Yeah, but I don't know how deep it doesn't really go into the Mohican though, because the camp is like Mohaven
Yeah,
or whatever.
correct.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it's relatively the same area. Well, that's cool, man. That's really cool. Do you plan to keep going in the years to come?
Mhm. Yes, I have many plans for that camp. Many
Oh yeah.
plans.
That's right. We talked about that.
Yeah, I've got a lot of things in my brain. They're just things in my brain, but I've got a lot of things in my brain that I would love to do or participate in or be able to do with that camp. I think there's just a huge opportunity for that camp and for all the kids that go there. They're so attached not to the diabetes part of camp, but being able to be with their friends that they've met, and they get that
Yeah.
1 to 2 weeks out of the year to be there with their friends and, like, hang out and meet new people, and it's such a cool thing.
You know, I was thinking about you and something you might not realize about yourself, but you you're dreaming. You keep a dream alive, man. Like no matter what it is, no matter what you're doing, you still dream of something else and the next big thing. And you know, people appreciate that. And it might come, you know, dude, you and I've been doing shit together for 6 years now. We know how tough it is. We know how difficult the ride is, but I think there are things, like I said, that you don't realize that you're doing that are incredibly important. And that's a major, major one, man. That's actually some of the best. I heard a song lyric I'll never forget in college, and it was essentially that, like, don't be afraid to change. When you stop dreaming, that's when you die. Like, and it's not all about happiness because you're making the most money. It's happiness because you're doing what you want and
Yeah.
the things that, you know, like I do think sometimes, you know, we talk about, you just mentioned the cure. The older I get, sometimes I'm thinking we're doing all of this to serve a greater good to people that come after us. Like
Mhm.
it might not directly impact diabetes right now, but there's going to be hopefully there aren't, but there are going to be a lot of people that come after us. You know, we might not get a chance to get cured, but we might still be
Part of the cure, part of seeing it
or
at
like a
least.
part of like a case study where it's like what I just said, like, you know, we nailed the idea of dreaming, of building, of going and never stopping. And you know, you got to give yourself credit for that, man. Right now, going that camp is a sacrifice, in my opinion. You're not making. I mean, you're not making. If you made money and made money, exactly, dude. Like you essentially lost money and you got a week behind. Yeah, you're shaking your head. That's why I fell out of it, man. Like I had, I think I was already out of college, but I'd started my career and it was just impossible. Like I have like limited PTO, and you know, it was hard. So, but again, kudos to you, man, and to what other dream you have alive, because that youth experience that you just said, it does matter. It matters so much, man. It
Mhm.
matters so much.
And not even to the youth experience, right? So the youth experience matters because that's what the camp is all about. But there's another aspect of this that matters too. All the staff members who are diabetic
Yeah, but are they
and
there
can
giving back?
connect.
But wait, are they there giving back, or they're looking for something? Are they looking for something?
No, they're there giving back 100%. They're giving back. We're
And
all
I don't
there
say
giving to give
I
back.
didn't say are they looking for something, but are they there to serve their interests? Are they there to Are they there because of what I just said, the youth experience of
They're there for the youth experience. They're there to help the kids, but also it is a because this is how I feel about it. I obviously can't. I guess I can't speak for all the staff members, but there's something deeper than just being able to be a counselor at that type of camp, right? Because if there wasn't something deeper, then why the heck would we all do it for a couple $100 for the week? We wouldn't. We all had to take PTO. We all had to take our time off of work. We all have to do those things. So what is the driving force? I mean, everyone's different, but there also is the friendships, the camaraderie, the seeing those people once a year, like that's a special thing too, because it's not like we all get together every single year. The ones at least that live in Columbus, it's not like we all get together every single year. Like, Anthony and Camp Hamway do maybe one or two get-togethers a couple times a year. Um, but it's not like we're always getting together with each other. So there's that piece too. It's not just from the young kids' perspective of them being able to come see their friends and go to camp. It's also us staff members giving back our time and energy to something that is we're all deeply involved in, which is having diabetes. And also the staff, I mean, I've had multiple conversations with staff members. A lot of the staff members, because they've most of them, so many of them have been there since they were since they were campers. They've learned so much about their diabetes from being a camper, going through the process, and then being a CIT, a counselor in training, and then being on staff and being there for years and years on staff and meeting the kids and learning new things, learning new technologies, like meeting people like myself or other people that come in to talk and are involved in the education and spots of, positions of diabetes. Like, so I think it's on both sides.
when I was there, call this 1996, all right? So this was exactly 30 say this was exactly 30 years ago. The camp sits on, it's like a grounds. It's a grounds, and around the grounds is this long trail through the woods. And we used to have the counselors would put on for the campers like a haunted trail, right? They straight
Uh-huh.
up had a dude that they dechained a chainsaw and would follow. His name, I'll never forget. His name was Todd, and he was from like Australia. They brought, a lot of camps will bring in like exchange kid programs, and he straight up had like a Jason mask and a dechained chainsaw, like ripping it through the woods, chasing people. Yeah, like how funny, how different have times become, right?
Dude, they're so different.
I
It's
know.
insane. They're so different,
Absolutely
dude.
hilarious. Absolutely
The
hilarious.
type and the staff members who were campers, this is so funny. The staff members that were campers talk all the time about the things that they all did when they were campers that you could never in a million years
Yeah.
get away with now.
Yeah.
Never in a million years.
Dude, I could fill an hour of stories and I'll tell you 0 minutes because everything is like I've had very long friendships with a lot of people to the like, I've taken talking dating, vacations, families know each other, like,
It's a whole nother
so
yeah, it's a whole nother part of the community.
yeah,
It
yeah.
really is. It's super cool, man. But
So what
again,
else?
there's so much opportunity with it that isn't being utilized.
Sure, sure. So what else is popping in the world of diabetes though outside of that in your life and
Well, I just let's finish this kind of thought with camp first, and then we'll move on.
I'm
Oh,
thought it
okay.
out. I'm thought it out. So
Okay. So here's my final message thought of the week of everything camp related. Okay. So if you're listening to this, you're a parent, maybe you're even adult, and you want to get involved somehow. If you're a parent, I 100% advocate for you to look for whatever type of camp that might be, diabetes camp that might be in your area. They're popping up all over the place. They're all over the country. So I think that's the first thing. It is a life changing experience for these young kids, whether it's a day camp or whether it's an overnight camp. It is a life changing experience. And then from the adult perspective, there's two things. One, is there a camp around you that you can participate as an adult camper. Me and Graham said something about it on the last podcast episode. How cool would it be if there was an adult camps? And there is. Not as many as regular camps, but there is. There's camps all over the place that you can go for the weekend and learn and meet other diabetics. And then on the other side of that, if you want to give back, these camps always need volunteers for the week. Being a counselor, being on leadership, doing whatever. We always need help. So some of the positions are paid, some of them aren't paid. I always I always try to apply for a paid position to get a little bit of money. But I think it's so impactful for these kids. It's so impactful for our entire community. So I 100% advocate for that.
Actually, I do have something. We might as well stick on this topic then and slightly away. How do you see the impact of a camp experience affecting someone's home life? How much
What do
do
you mean?
people how much are those kids taking home, and how much is it impacting what's actually happening at home? Like, are they learning so much that they're completely rethinking the experience, and they want to bring their families into it and doing this and that, or is it um and I'm not saying there's anything wrong, but is it self-serving in the sense where, like, it is very healthy for a kid's mental health to be around other diabetics, or are they really learning and retaining information that they're going to take? And maybe that's kind of my question. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you're saying. So I think there's a couple things here. The first is I don't think that these kids are learning a bunch in 1 week.
mhm,
They're not learning how to completely change their behaviors. They're not learning how to completely change their diabetes management to have incredible blood sugars. They're just not learning that in 1 week, and that's not what camp's for. I used to think like, "Oh my gosh, there's not enough education going on at these camps." At Camp Hamway, we do hour-long learning sessions every single day. But when you're educating a kid, a teenager, a young teenager, you're not gonna hold their attention
yeah,
and totally change their behaviors and 60 minutes on a topic. You're just not going to. You're hoping that you're just planting the seeds and that seed will grow over the next couple years. And I've seen that. Now being in the camp, I believe 5 years now. I've seen from the very beginning these campers that we had that are on the younger age of teen, 13, 12, 13, now being almost 16, 17. I see how they talk about diabetes now. I see how they manage their diabetes now. I see how they interact with the other campers now. And that's a really cool thing to witness over the years of these kids being able to take these seeds that are being planted and have those seeds grow into something where they can somewhat understand and somewhat be able to take action outside of camp. To your other part of the question, do you think that it's kind of like a where they're not really taking this information home because of whatever reason, right? And that could be that could be whatever reason it might be. And in terms of like, oh, the parents don't get enough education to be able to take some of the things that the kids learned. But what are I mean, the parents are the same way. Like they're there for 15, 20 minutes at the beginning when they're dropping off, and they're there for 15, 20 minutes when they're picking up, right? So that's not the time to try to educate people. The time to educate people is between the camp, education sessions, constant communication, meetups, events. That's the time to start really planting seeds and watching them grow in a way faster pace, at a way faster pace. And that's what I want to try to accomplish, right? If for some reason I can ever do what I want to do at that camp or be part of it in a little bit different manner than I am now, that's what I would wanna see with that camp, is there's a good education process from the time camp finishes to the time camp starts up the next year. Because I think that's where the opportunity lies in terms of being able to have these kids be a little bit more educated on how to manage their condition, not just from the technology piece or the physical piece, but also the mental piece.
uh,
So, yeah, go ahead.
how often are you meeting kids that are newly diagnosed and still on their honeymoon, and this is all like new information to them, and they're taking it in
How
next?
often am I meeting them?
How often, like, in the years that you've been there, is there always a kind of someone that's new to diabetes, or
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah. I mean, what, 2 years ago, I had someone that was, like, just diagnosed 3 months previous.
Mhm,
So, I mean, yeah, it happens. Like, I mean, there's kids that come in that somehow graciously somehow found out about camp at the beginning of their diagnosis, and then there's other kids that found out about camp 5, 6, 7 years in. They had no idea, right? So it's I don't know where the happy medium is. Obviously, you wanna say that the best alternative or the best thing that could happen for that individual, for that young kid, is to find out about camp right when he's diagnosed. Oh, yeah, there's also Camp Hamway in Columbus. It's a
mm,
diabetes camp for kids. They've
mhm,
got day camp and they've got overnight camp. We highly recommend you go. Here's why. Here's the information on it. Go check it out,
mhm,
right? That should be part of the protocol. Just like at diagnosis, part of the protocol should be, okay, check out Beyond Type 1. Check out Breakthrough T1D. Check out these organizations. Check out all these different podcasts. But they can't do that stuff because something like a podcast is not licensed in their network. But they could do that for something like Breakthrough T1D, which is it's a licensed nonprofit. Beyond Type 1 is a licensed nonprofit. ADA is a licensed nonprofit. So, it's sad how the world works with education and what hoops you have to
with
try to get
education,
through.
it's sad that the world gave us this disease, bro. What are you talking about?
What do you mean the world didn't give us this disease?
You
What are you
said how
talking
the
about?
world. Oh well,
How the world
I thought you meant like the greater. I see what you're saying.
No,
Well, hold
just
on.
yeah, yeah.
I had another thing that I wanted to share with you. When these kids are there, do all the kids have like their phones on them, and like the parents can still see their blood sugars and like, okay, like how does that, and like you just hear a bunch of beeping at all time, a bunch of CGMs going off and shit. Like, oh my god, go ahead.
Yeah,
Let me. I hadn't even
yeah.
thought about that until.
So previously when you were at camp, right, it was all finger sticks. It was all
Yeah.
glucose monitors,
Uh-huh.
right? My 2nd year, which would have been what, 5, I think this was year 5, so it would have been 2021,
23.
so 22, 20, I don't know, something like that. 22, 23. Maybe it was 21. Maybe it was 22. No, it was 22 or 23. I don't know, I don't
Go
remember.
ahead.
But anyways, so my 2nd year, FDA or it went through FDA and passed that all camps or all school districts or all education, whatever it is, all extracurricular activities could dose blood sugar or dose insulin from the readings on your phone. Because my first year,
Right.
most people had a CGM, but we couldn't dose from that. We still had to check blood sugar to dose from.
Okay.
So if we saw that someone was low or trending up or whatever, we still had to check their blood sugar to make sure that that number was accurate. Now, everything's done from the phone, right? So these kids have their phone in the cabins, but they're not allowed to be on them. These kids have their phones walking from activity to activity, but we keep them in an actual bag. Like the
Oh
counselor
wow.
who is dealing with that activity, we gather everyone's phone right before the activity starts, and the kids they're not on their phones. They're not
Yeah.
allowed to be on their phones, which it's a phone-free environment, but because we're a diabetes camp,
Mhm.
we allow them to have their phones. So that's been a cool transition because it makes everything so much easier.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, you feel low. What's your blood sugar? Oh, it's 85 and falling. Yeah, go treat yourself. Let's treat that instead of having to pull out the blood sugar meter, take the blood
Yeah.
sugar. Okay, now it's taken 60 seconds, maybe a minute and a half to get your blood sugar. Okay, if it's dropping, is that number now not accurate? It says 85 and dropping, but you could now be 75, right? So it makes things a lot easier to dose for and to treat for. So, yeah. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that we're talking about this because, and we haven't spoken, but I have fully changed. I've fully adapted to going back to blood sugar, bro. I actually even said to myself recently, like, I couldn't imagine having a CGM again. Like, I'm fully on, dude. I'm like I'm so on this, bro. Guess what happened today? I tested my blood sugar and I was 69. I didn't really feel low, right? But I had thought about it and I was like, well, it could make sense. So I did it again. What do you think my blood sugar was?
Within 10 milligrams per deciliter.
Yeah, I'm 73. So I was like, it's right. I'm just not feeling it. Sure enough, I had like a protein bar, but as I kind of ate it, I was like, yeah, I guess I felt this. Like there is no it might I do believe, though more time goes by, it is personality driven. I think I am way too reactive of a person for the CGM. I'm not patient enough. So this works for me, as we say, do what works for you. But I really do. I really love it. Like my blood sugars are like I'm spot on, dude. It's just like everything has. I feel like everything has changed because of it, man. And I did split. I split my basals, and that's been helpful. But I think it's been a mental thing, and to even go full circle here, everything we talk about, it's all relative to diabetes, obviously, but the mental ease that the experience like a camp brings you is healthier than any is like,
Yeah.
bro, that that gives you years on your life. Like when you have that and like the time that goes by and just for me, especially year after year after year, it's just I am no different. I'm actually maybe better than everybody because of these diabetes. And then look how we met. It was essentially that was the saying that I fed to you the first time we had lunch that you loved. Like diabetics are just doing what everybody else should be doing, and there's a lot of power in that. And so I'm making a grander point about my own situation, but it plays into it, man. It does really play into it. So,
Yeah. I've told you so many times that the mental piece is the most important.
but
I really do think that.
I don't want to cut you off. People always say mental, mental, and then they get caught up in mental. Like just feeling happy, feeling grateful, feeling that sometimes I think Ken means by mental that like, yes, there are mental elements of things in many facets, but again, feeling grateful, feeling happy, feeling like this is all for something. This is all for something really matters. And I have a
Yeah,
lot of attitude on this show and I say a lot of shit, but it's because at the end of the day, like, it's just, man, if this is the worst it's gonna be, this is pretty fucking good, dude. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So, and I'll leave it at that, dude. I'll leave it at that, man. So,
Yeah. The what you said of being happy is part of it.
mhm,
That's a big part of it, but that's part of it. I think the other aspect that we have to recognize here with the mental piece is that feeling, those emotions of being happy and being excited about what's going on does one specific thing that dramatically helps your diabetes and the situation and decisions, and that's having confidence in what you're doing.
sure,
So
sure.
that it's not just the feeling, but it's also the application piece.
Mhm,
Because at the end of the day, you still have to dose for insulin. At the end of the day, you still have to know what your blood sugar is. At the end of the day, you still have to exercise. You still have to do the things that we talk about all the time, right? So the mental piece goes along with that because if you just feel confident, but it's still feels like a burden, it still feels like a chore, it still feels like you're just always like, you're not in a great mental, you're not in a great place. You don't feel great about what you're doing, but your numbers might be amazing because you figured out how to do it. That's one aspect of it. Think about how amazing your numbers would be if you just loved it. If you just loved yourself. If you weren't always like irritated with diabetes. If you didn't have this like what I call, not bad or negative relationship, but not a positive relationship with diabetes. Right. So I think the one thing for Graham that I don't agree with him on, but I'm happy for him is he decided to make a change in how he is strategically managing his blood sugars by getting away from the things that gave him anxiety, which was the alarms, having to constantly wear a device, having to constantly look at his phone, being being connected to that thing 24/7 because of his numbers, having it not always be accurate. So now you're having to prick your finger anyway, and then having the anxiety of going back and forth with that. So 100%. And what I've told Graham before, the reason I would not do that is because I manage my blood sugar not in the moment, but in the past, present, and future. So saying that, I wouldn't be able to manage my blood sugar in the way that I do now if I couldn't look at trends, if I couldn't look at what my blood sugar is doing 2 hours after I ate, what my blood sugar is doing an hour after I ate or a half hour after I ate. Where's the spike coming from? Why is the spike happening? Okay, my blood sugar started spiking at 2 o'clock and I ate at 1:30, but I didn't pre-bolus. Makes total sense. That's what you don't get that stuff on doing manual finger pricks. You just don't. You don't get all that information. But to Graham's credit, he can figure out all of those pieces because of the way he lives his life. He doesn't eat tons of food. He's basically intermittent fasting. We had a conversation about this. He bases intermittent fasting from 6 to 10. Like that's his eating window. So he's not eating tons of food. So he can take the things that I don't necessarily agree with or I would never try to do and make it work for him. And I think that like to what Graham's saying, that's so important because we all have to be able to do that for ourselves.
Speaking of which, we don't do this a lot. We should add a little hour where we do it, little recipe hour. I want everybody to rethink about baked chicken wings. Because if you do it the right way, man, like baked chicken wings are where it's at. And I feel like that's a trick that I've always done. You can have chicken wings on hand for, dude, if you made chicken wings on a Sunday, they'll be there all week. If you made a fat, you ever make chicken wings, Ken?
Mm-hmm.
Buy them in bulk. Another good thing with chicken wings, if you brine them, so just like a salt bath overnight and then grill them, you don't have to put anything. You don't have to put anything on them. I'm not afraid of salt. I don't know about you. When you cook, are you afraid? Are you afraid of salt?
No, because I use an adequate amount of salt. I don't
Yeah,
freaking douse everything in salt.
sure. Well, brining is by nature a lot of it, but you I don't know if you know about brining.
But that's one recipe, right? What I'm saying is a compounding amount over time
Oh yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
every
I'm just
single
saying in
meal,
this
right?
case,
So like the old school thought process of like when you sat down in a restaurant or you sat down at the dinner table and there's a salt shaker and a pepper shaker right there and you
correct.
grab the
Yeah,
salt shaker and put it
never
on
been my way.
everything,
Correct. No, no, no.
right?
No,
That's what I'm talking about. You don't
I'm
do that. Don't do
I'm
that.
Latin, dude. I'm Latin. I cook with the things as I do them. But
Yeah, if you're cooking with
no,
salt, it's
like
great.
I do a lot of like and speaking of really, really easy, it could be, olive oil and garlic and some salt if you didn't want to brine them. And and like they're very cheap. You can break down chicken, you can get the whole flapper where you break down. I just think that's a really good thing. Chicken breast tends to dry out. I also feel like chicken breast, people get sick of it. So if you add in like, chicken thighs or even something with a bone and skin every once in a while, you could take the skin off with the bone. I think the bone gives it more flavor and stuff like that. And I know that's
Yeah.
completely random, but
Yeah.
another easy one that's great, cottage cheese to have. I ate a lot of yogurt. I ate a ton of yogurt. If you go to Costco, dude, Costco is amazing. It's a little
Hmm.
bit expensive, but I filled my cart and nothing had carbohydrates. Literally nothing had, and I filled my cart, bro. And I swear, like, things have gotten better and better. They got prepared shakes that come in like a 36 pack. It's this brand. Dude, these are bomb. You heard of these Fairlifes? Do you know about this?
Yeah, I've heard
Dude,
of them.
30 grams of protein, 4 grams of carbohydrates. I can have that shit all day, So I get like meat
Look at the
sticks.
ingredients.
I eat a lot of, do you eat nuts? Do you eat a lot of nuts?
Hmm. On the
Yeah.
Fairlife, look at the ingredients and tell me
Dude,
what
but
you
again, it's
think.
convenience, man. Like,
Yeah,
it's
convenience,
easy.
man. But so here's where let me just say this, right? And again, I'm never going to tell anybody how to necessarily eat or what they should or shouldn't do, right? Because all of us have to make that choice. But at the end of the day, there's two things that you are fighting 100% when you are diabetic. That's blood sugar spikes, which are caused by carbohydrates breaking down the sugar, getting too much into the system, and you don't have enough insulin on board to take care of that, and inflammatory response. When you eat things that are highly inflamed, can highly inflame the digestive system. If you're eating foods that are inflaming your system, that's going to increase your insulin resistance, which is going to increase the amount of insulin that you ultimately need to take. people that are on lower carbohydrate diets can get away with it because they're not eating a bunch of carbohydrates, right? And maybe they don't feel the effects as much from the digestive feelings as maybe they're not feeling that, but that doesn't mean it's not happening, right? As an example, right? Me right now, I'm really trying to figure out what foods that I'm constantly eating that are really inflaming my digestive system because I feel bloated all the freaking time. And there's specific foods, I know it. There's specific foods. It might even be wheat. It might be gluten. I might have to go gluten free for a while. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's not it. But there's specific foods that are inflaming my system. And they're not bad foods because I don't really eat bad foods. So it is important for every single one of us to look at the ingredients and not just read the labels, right? As an example, Fairlife, there are some of their products that are good and there's some of their products that are not great because
Mhm.
they have a bunch of other stuff in that specific product that aren't great. If I
Mhm.
remember right, I'd have to look at it, but if I remember right, Graham, that protein shake isn't terrible. It's got some stuff that are red flags for me, but it's not terrible.
So I use those because, as you know, don't eat till the end of the night. And then if I'm still like a little bit hungry when I go to bed, I don't want something
Yeah, of
major. So
course.
there's no carbs, right? But here's the funny part. I feel my worst and my most bloated after my nightly Fairlife. I have noticed that. I
Yeah.
feel almost every night it does give me. So I might have to take a look at, buying those again and just making my own at home. But it is funny that you say that because I am feeling some type of response from it. But that also could be dairy.
It could
I
be
do
the
do a lot of
dairy.
I do a lot of dairy, but dairy in different forms can also like mess you up a little bit. So
Mhm.
do you
Yeah.
buy that's another thing that people don't do. Do you buy gallons of milk? Yeah, we always have multiple gallons of milk at all
No.
times.
Although I will say that Kelly's been doing at Whole Foods, we'll get like whole milk, and I don't know if it's a gallon or I mean, but we still get them, but Kelly really uses them for the girls.
Recipes?
No, she uses it for coffee and for in her coffee, and then also we'll use it if like doing like granola or cereal or something.
Dude, I know I sound like a child, but a cold glass of milk, I
Mhm.
could rip all day. Like, and my
Yeah.
wife's that way. My daughter, you know, I've always been a milk and eggs guy, always. And I live in Florida, so it's easy. But like on Sundays, I always go out and get 4 fresh avocados. Not, like ripe enough that'll be ripe for the week.
Yeah, I
So
eat a lot of avocados, probably
that
too
was just a little
much.
talk, just a little talk hour.
Yeah.
All right. Well, nice to catch up with you. We're back on. We're back
Yep.
in routine now. So,
Yeah, we're back on. There's
boo,
some
if you can, real quick, if you can believe it, in less than 2 weeks from today, my daughter will already be back to school. So I'm like back in routine. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It goes by fast. It goes by fast for sure. But everybody, thank you for listening. If you are a parent, I really highly recommend you look into diabetes camp wherever you are in the country. There's so many of them out there. Even if you have to drive a couple hours or maybe drive maybe a state or whatever over, it is 100% worth the time. It is 100% worth it to your young diabetic. If you're an adult, go find a diabetes camp. There's some in Canada too, adult diabetes camps. There's some on the East Coast. I would love to start one, but that's a whole nother conversation. Just get involved. The camps are really, really cool and they're coming up everywhere. So I really encourage you to look into where you are in the country and see if you can find one near you and get involved. So thank you so much for listening, everybody, and we will see you next time.